kind of hear it's like, I don't know if you ever heard of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Did you ever hear of that show? It was something that we grew up with kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was this really sweet guy, and it was like there's no such thing as mistakes. Everything is just the way it's supposed to be, and
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So we are sitting here today with. Okay, I gotta get everybody's names right. Okay.
Mara Moran.
We are sitting here today with Geshe Phuntsho.
Yes.
And Mara from Heart Space.
Yes.
And Mara is terrified to be here right now. You're going to do great.
All right, thank you.
It's not live. There's no mistakes. We were just talking about Mr. Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can I read your biography that she sent me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Geshe was born in 1966 in Thimphu, Bhutan.
Yes.
Okay. He became a monk in 1986 and studied elementary Buddhist teachings. He traveled to India in 1990 and enrolled in Gaden Shartse Monastery. Shartse, okay. In pursuit of more advanced and intensive teachings. Geshe received full ordination from His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama in 1996. Thereafter, he traveled extensively, working as an interpreter for H.E. What is that?
His Eminence.
Oh, I should have known that. His Eminence, Kensur
Rinpoche Jampa Yeshe.
Oh, he's so much better at this than I am. As well as many other renowned Rinpoches and Geshes. In 2005, after completing his monastic studies, he received his Geshe-Doctorate degree at Gaden Shartse Monastery and was assigned to Malaysia as a resident teacher for 2 years. He has previously traveled to the United States with the Gaden Shartse tour, serving as main translator, and helped coordinate the sixth and eighth Sacred Earth and Healing Arts of Tibet World Tours organized by the Gaden Shartse Monastery. He has also traveled to Europe, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Cambodia as a translator. Geshe is tour leader, driver, and ritual master of his tour. I am so excited to have both of you here.
Thank you.
I feel bad that you have not done this traveling as well as neither have I. So usually what we do is we try to get like a background on people, like where did they grow up? How did they follow the path that they followed? So
yes.
Can you start by telling us your early life in Thimphu?
My early life?
Yes.
Well, it was, I would say it was life was tough, but it was pure organic life. Down to earth. We did lots of hard work and lots of growing all kind of vegetables and farming, rice and everything.
The way it's supposed to be.
Yes. And then went to school. Then I was enrolled in a military school. So I was trained like an army. And boxing was my hobby. And Mike Tyson was my role model.
Mike Tyson?
Yeah, my dad.
No way. All right. So, I didn't expect that answer. Okay.
Yeah. Then after that, yes. But life was really nice because there's no phone, no TV, not many cars. Because Bhutan is just still underdeveloping country. It's way far away up in the mountain. It's a small country in the Himalayas, ruled by a king. So it's a beautiful country. That's why we call the Bhutan. It's well known as a GNH, gross national happiness. And
I never heard that term before.
And then that's why like there are certain things that when we grew up, that what the government can do for the people or the citizen. The first one is like a free education. Second one is free medications, preserving the cultures, and then also keeping the whole country as a pure 100% organic country. 100% organic country. So these are the beauties in Bhutan that amazing. And so, I grew up in such a fortunate place. And we have, I think the king is like a dream, you know. We have the best king ever. We really love wholeheartedly the father and the son now. The father resigned as a king and gave his position to his son. And the father was just 53 and the son was 28. And he wanted to give his authority to his son. And he said, I want to, practice and meditate and practice. And plus that since I'm still young, I can mentor my son to be a great king. So it was a beautiful, changing and going on. But it's amazing. So that's where I grew up in.
I'm always interested in the cultural differences and a lot of the differences in like spirituality and culture. And I wouldn't take it as an insult if the comparison between the United States, because you keep saying organic, and I'm really interested in not eating food that comes in plastic wrappers.
That's why in our country, we are dying to eat the junk food.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
No, because we hardly get those kind of food. So that's why it was kind of strange. Like we're dying to have junk food, but here you have no choice.
Isn't that strange? Where it's like the only choice that you have is the junk food.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's because the world is developing so fast.
Yeah,
there are some we cannot run away from those kind of junk food, but government is strictly trying to make it whole country as a 100% organic country. So that's why we have to grow. Most of them has to grow our own food.
So what are some of the foods that you guys grow? I'm sorry if I'm like deviating away from like spirituality and everything, but I'm just really...
Well, Bhutan, see, when I was young, I know all kind of vegetable, to how to grow. Lots of chilies. In our country, the chili is one of the... normally they call chili is a spice, right?
Yeah.
In our country, chili is not a spice; it's a vegetable.
Really?
Every family has to have some chilies in their house, and chili with the cheese is the one of the famous dish from our country. And then we grow rice and wheat, white wheat, and we call the brown wheat, and lots of corn, lots of millet. In Bhutan is like a Himalayas. But it has all kind of elevation. From the highest is around 26,000 feet to almost like maybe 1,000 feet. So we get all kind of elevation there, and then all kind of the crops can be grown.
Okay, I got to move on because otherwise I'm going to be talking 2 hours for you about like what the best food to eat in Bhutan is. So you became a monk in 1986 at age 20.
Yes.
Which is a pretty significant decision.
Yeah.
What inspired you to take that step, and what guided you towards a monastic life?
See, as a culture where we grew up, the culture is like our first responsibility being a son or daughter. Our first responsibility is to how to take care of your parents. That's always a plan, that we want to take care of our parents. And so along with my study, I was quite good in study actually, even though my life was very tough life in my army school. So, but still back in my mind, I want to take good care of my parents. I have a huge respect to my parents. And I'm the eldest among 11 siblings.
11?
Yeah, I'm the eldest.
Sure he's not Irish?
Yeah, but unfortunately, out of 11, 4 died.
Oh.
So right after me, 2 brothers and 2 sisters died. 2 brothers were offered to the vulture. We call this, you heard it was sky burial?
Okay. I never heard of that.
Oh, sky burial means when somebody dies, so they will bring up in the mountain and then they will offer to the vulture, the body, flesh. They offer to the vulture.
Really?
Oh yeah, those times. This even still some remote part of Bhutan and Nepal and Tibet, it's still happening. Sky burial we call it. Yeah, offer to the vulture. It's like an organ donor, like you're donating.
Okay.
So the 2 sisters were offered to the fish.
At sea?
In the river.
Okay.
So that's why, along with my study, somehow my fate, even though most of my classmates, 6 of them are right now colonel. They are in army colonel. And I didn't got the admission to be in an officer training. Somehow I was, I couldn't get through. So along with my study, all of a sudden the Bhutan, the government in Bhutan announced that whoever want to become a monk from school, you're welcome. And then So in one class, there was 45 minutes of like space. There was no teacher. So we were gossiping. Oh, there's some there. You want to join school or monk or not? So I just thought like that. What if I become a monk? Before that, I have no idea about becoming a monk because I just want to find a job, I was good in maths and physics. I thought I can be a good engineer or something like that, architect. That was my plan. But suddenly I thought like, what if I become a monk? And then after school, I went home, and then my father was working. So when I saw my mother, and first thing I asked, what if I become a monk? And she said, well, it's up to you whether you want to become a monk or not. And then I asked another question was, well, if I ever become a monk, will I be able to help to you or not? What my mother told me is, well, if you really want to repay the kindness to your parents, becoming a monk is the best way. That's it. Next day I become a monk. Next day. And I never knew so many sacrifices I have to go through.
Really?
Yeah, because monk means I have a girlfriend. I have to leave my girlfriend. I used to drink a little bit.
I won't tell anybody.
I had to leave that. And then so many other things. You cannot wear different kind of clothes, only married clothes. So, but it was so easy to give away everything. I was so excited that I can be helpful to my parents. I was so excited. And then I have to study because when you go into the Buddhist philosophy, it means, wow, so many study you have to do. And it was easy. It was enthusiasm, so much enthusiasm. So over the years after becoming a monk, then it's a kind of like create a bond between your parents and their son. Because I'm a spiritual guidance now. So if they have to ask, they always consult with me as I'm the eldest plus a spiritual person. And I can guide them also. And then over the years, then I realized the best way to repay the kindness to your parent is by not disturbing them.
Stay quiet.
Because I never disturb them.
Okay.
I don't create any problem to them.
Yes.
But but overall, it's a healthiest way of thinking, because they, as my parents, they are always with me in my daily prayers. Even though both of them passed away, they are with me in my daily prayers, in my daily practice, and even when they're alive, the way they think about me is a very healthy way. Oh, my son must be somewhere, maybe meditation or studying or doing some helping to others or teachings or like that. So it's a very healthiest way. Oh, my son must be drinking or maybe some abusing or no job. Like they don't have to worry about that. So that's why it creates a very healthy the relationship between the parents and me, the son being a spiritual monk. So that was and then because I went to school, even though not much, but I have this language because we were the first batch from school to become a monk, actually. That never happened in the history in our country. There were total 250 students become a monk overnight.
Wow. Okay.
And so, yeah, and then we had a good time, and the government was so happy that we became a monk from school, and they had a great hope. But along with that, I want to study more. So that's why I have to leave Bhutan and then I had to go to India to pursue further study. So that's why I was wandering all over India to find a suitable place so that I can study Buddhist philosophy.
What were some of the things that you were looking for in places to study?
Looking for means because the study Buddhist philosophy is a vast subject.
Yeah,
you have to study. If I count from the youngest age, like since I have some exception because I become a monk very old, at the very when I was about 20 plus. But if you really want to study, it takes at least 34 years to finish your study.
Wow.
34 years. So that's why it almost took so much. So that's why the more you study, you feel like you don't know anything. But it's a vast subject. And then you have to do memorization, hundreds of texts you have to memorize. And then you have to debate 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. And yeah, we study. And it's good for Because if you want to be in service for humanity, then you have to have some knowledge about this philosophy. So Buddhism is never a religion. It's a way of life. It is to help you to live in the world of reality. Because people around the world right now, everyone is trying to hide their reality and live in the world of fantasy, like fantasizing as if nothing's happening, everything's going smoothly. It's like kind of show up instead of kind of buttering up yourself. But deep down is like pain and fear and regret. And so that's why being a spiritual person, especially in a Buddhist, it's trying to help people to show that you don't have to pretend yourself, because you cannot run away. That's the problem. It's like aging, sickness, and death is nothing you cannot run away. How much wealth, the positions or looks or, strength you have, background you have, nothing can help. But we start to pretend as if we're stretching our skin, look younger, boosting all these supplements and try to be like...
I agree with you 100%.
So that's why people without the spiritual insight deep inside, we are kind of living in the world of fantasy. And I saw so many people having all the wealth and then still fear, worried, and not happy. They have everything. But what to do? Sometimes, when we live too much into the world of fantasy, then it's difficult to live. You cannot run away from the reality, but you try to hide that and then trying to pretend as if that I'm okay. And we're just not happy.
So I don't even know if I'm going to pay any attention to this anymore. Because I'm like,
talk all day.
So when the pandemic hit in 2020, I would say that I was more along the lines of the people that you were speaking of, who live with regret and fear and the fantasy world. And I started to ask questions on why are there certain things that I'm afraid of, and why am I afraid of them? And then when you really think about it, there's really no reason to live like that. And I would love, I'm sure you would agree to some degree, that I would love to live that life of truth.
Yes. Yeah, I was here during pandemic time. I was here in USA. I was stuck here. I was supposed to return back in around March.
Yeah.
And suddenly, it was everything, all the airport was closing down. And I was stuck here for 18 months during that time.
Holy crap.
But during this pandemic time, I was shocked how the people, were trying to wake up from fear. That's why we are supposed to create Mandala, right here. Mm-hmm. During the pandemic time, I was in Long Beach in California.
Oh, I used to live out there.
So we have a center, and I have a tour monk. So I was a director there in a center and 4 years. So I finished my term, and then I was supposed to return back. I got out my ticket. But the last minute, I have to, all the plane, they shut down everything because of pandemic. So now I have to do something. All the tour monks were here. So I plan, and I make a mandala in the center, but no one is allowed to come because the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I stream live all this. And there were 17 mandala were sponsored by each person. And each mandala was $5,000. They sponsored with each mandala, 17 mandala. And each one we did 21 days of prayers, and while creating streaming live, and then we tried to teach online. People from our middle of nowhere, they're watching this. They were so excited. They're so happy to see monks making prayers and creating this divine mansion, so that they can help them to feel this energy. And also to feel them that, yes, you have energy, also to make them feel to not to be attached to this fantasy world. So this is the impermanent. So that's why it was so amazing. We were looking at some of these people, or looking at middle of Africa, like Congo, somewhere in South Korea, Japan, China, Mongolia, Russia. Well, everywhere there was someone looking and trying to receive the blessings.
So I looked at it. I did in a strange way. I looked at the pandemic as a blessing.
Oh yeah, sometime when everything goes smoothly, we got the la la land, then we take it for granted. We take it for granted. We don't appreciate.
Yes.
But when things hit your butt, then you know that how important life is. Because otherwise we take it for granted.
I'm. You can hop in whatever you want. Like I know you don't want to, but like I feel like I feel like I'm neglecting you.
I'm enjoying listening.
Okay.
I'm enjoying listening.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I found that like I have to admit that I'm incredibly ignorant to the
Everyone.
studies of Buddhism.
We are also ignorant. That's why we're still being a monk. Otherwise, I'm levitating.
So, but I'm leaning more towards, I'm not very religious, but I do believe in the spirituality. I believe in an energy. There might be a consciousness that I don't understand. And it seems like the path that you have chosen, or maybe you think was chosen for you, I don't know. It seems to be more in line with the path that a lot of people should be on. Does that make sense?
Well, see, I would say yes and no.
Okay.
Because to be like, choose like my life,
Yeah.
if you don't get it, then it's like it's a pain in your butt.
Yeah.
Because your life, you have to do everything like an abnormal life. You are not allowed to be party. You don't allowed to wear different kind of clothes. You can't, mostly you being a monk means you can't engage into, we call the sexual misconduct, no killing, no lying, all these things.
Yeah.
So that's why, and then your life has to be living a simple life. Like monk means you have to have 2 sets of clothes. And then also cannot keep the long hair also, because the longer hair you have, then you get some attachment. Like you watch in the mirror, try to comb to look how nice you are or looking good or not. So it creates some desire to yourself. So you have to shave or like keep it as short as you can. Like maybe a half an inch is okay. So you have to live simple life. Because for us, when we think like if you get it, then it's a beautiful thing because you are trying to contribute something for this beautiful world. We think that by living a simple life, we are also trying to contribute something for this every living beings and Mother Nature to have less pollutions, less exhausting resources. That's what we do. So that everyone will equally enjoy the beauties of this world. But because of my greediness, if I'm not a monk, if I'm busy making money and fame and name and fame, then I may have hundreds of acres of land and I'll make a no trespassing. No one can come in. Otherwise, maybe here they will shoot you.
Well, that's America. Yeah.
So that, and also I have only one body. I don't need hundreds of clothes. Because if I have hundreds of clothes, means I'm equally responsible to exhaust the resources of this Mother Earth. Because the cloth means somebody has to cut the wood or do something to. So that means I'm also equally responsible to exhaust pollutions and resources to exhaust. So that's why if I have less material thing, then I am at least contributing something for this Mother Nature and for others also. So living a simple life, also making, the more you live, happiness is not like if you are only looking for the happiness through this outside material thing, you will never find happiness because you're looking happiness from outside. But true happiness has to come from inside.
Yeah.
If you're not happy inside, you may have billions and trillions of dollars or so, you're still poor deep down. You're still poor. That's why the more you get it, the more you want. That means you're more hungry. It's like a salty water. The more you drink, you get more thirsty.
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes we call the nature of desire, because we try to believing that if I fulfill my desire, I'll be happy. But the nature of desire is called never satisfying. So more you try to fulfill your desire will grow. Even if because of your desire, you by hook or by crook, you may own this whole world. Also, this desire is not there. You will go beyond, look for another planet.
Yeah. It's like feeding an evil fire.
Yeah, it's the nature of desire is never satisfying. So more you have, more you want. That means you're still poor inside. So that's why if you want to have a rich inside, means grow within inside. So if you have peace of mind within inside, you can live without anything also. You'll still find peace and happiness. When you're in peace, any place is the home. That's why. If you go back 5 million ago, you won't be in this four-corner room, concrete room. We'll be in open space, under the tree or by the cave.
Do you feel that, like, so it's to me, from my perspective, your world is a totally alien world to me.
Yes, that's why they call religious an alien visa.
Right. So, like, but does the flip work? In other words, like when like this tour that you guys are on, right? Does it give you, do you miss your home, or is your home always where you are?
We don't have home. That's why we leave home, become homeless. That's why we are in monastery.
So do you miss the monastery when you're here, or like
not right now. See, monks normally most of we used to say always like that. There's nothing to be attached to and nothing to be detached from. The home is where you are right now. So wherever you are, that is your home. You have to make a home by your way you think. So that's why it's easier for us also. It's easier to our practice also. So that's why you're fine.
When you, on your journey of learning, you said 34 years. So on your journey of learning, was there a moment where you finally say to yourself, I think I'm starting to get it, or I might, like, I'm more at peace now, maybe I understand a thing, or the culmination of 14 years has made me, I'm just trying to figure out, like, where, if you had that moment where you're like, oh, okay, I know I'm doing the right thing.
Well, see, to know what you when you get it, like being a monk, and you get it that what you are doing, then that's a beauty. But to get that kind of feelings, it takes almost maybe around 25 years being a monk. Even just being a monk may not be able to get that, but when you study through and meeting up with so many great masters along with your path, because we meet so many other great masters. And with that, and also looking at all the history behind all this great master and the holy places that we visit, and looking at those remarks, that's why it really helps us to get that. And then you know that every prayers we do, that really become more deeper, more meaningful, more focused. So yeah, that's how you get it. Otherwise, if you don't get it, then it's a life is like a hell. Why they are enjoying? Why I cannot enjoy? That means sometimes you may feel, especially when you're younger, maybe like below 40s, maybe that time you feel those kind of things because other people are driving fancy car. If I work out, I can get it. Why not? So sometimes you feel at the time when you're younger. But along with that, you study precisely, diligently, and go deeper and deeper. And then after that, when you get it, plus being a monk, you have the opportunity, time to serve others. I don't have to worry about my own problem. Everything my life is, as long as my physical body can stand, my dedication is I want to serve others. And I have this time. But if I have my family life and those things, then I won't have this kind of opportunity. Even I want to, but my priority become to take care of my family or your own life. But I don't have to worry about that. So that's why when you're touring with the 6 monk also, that's what we can do that. That's why we can be busy here for 2 weeks in Scranton, and we can do the same next day in another town without feeling any tired. But the one who hosts us get exhausted.
Are you ready for this? Are you ready?
I'm ready for it. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
You mentioned debate as part of your process and your teachings and your education.
Okay.
What does that mean? I think debate is a way to truth.
Debate?
Yes.
See, in monastery, we study, like if you're within one day, if you count those who are 16 and above. So from 16, we study main Buddhist philosophy. So from 16, it will take around 24 years from 16, including from youngest is 3 years old to 16 has different class.
Okay.
From 16, we start main Buddhist philosophy. So then we debate 6 hours a day. And when we debate, whatever we have received a teaching from your teacher, so you had to memorize almost more than 80% of the texts and commentary. So then with these, you have 80% in your brain, and you go to debating ground, debating hall, and we debate. Every teaching that you receive has to be debated to squeeze through that whether it makes sense or not, whether it has any logic or not. If it doesn't make sense, if it doesn't make any logic, you have to discard that and try to find the different meaning out of that. So that's why we have to debate every teachings that you receive from your teacher. So from morning, from 8 to 11, we debate. From 6 p.m. or 6:30 p.m. to around 10 p.m., we debate. So that's why we debate. And everything has to be, you cannot bring any books when you're debating.
In America, when people debate, they get a little emotional.
Can be, yeah, why not?
Does that happen in the monastery?
Yeah, it can be, because sometimes when you're debating, like you and I in the same class, when we debate, and then when I'm debating with you, when I debate, and if you don't have an answer properly, then I will say, you dumbhead, you never did it, didn't you study? We all went to say, where's your brain? You know?
Yeah.
So that will embarrass you. Sometimes they will embarrass you. And sometimes, why are you lying? You're going all against the textbook. You're lying, you know. That's why you may likely to you be born like a handicap, because of when you lie to somebody, you know, when you're born, you may be missing some of your faculties.
Right.
That's how they will embarrass you. And when you embarrass like that, then you are forced to go back after debate, forced to go back and do revision again. And then I can prepare tomorrow, I can do better. So it's some kind of pride also. You have pride and jealousy. So along with the study, you need that. And then after that, like you are, after debating with jealousy and pride and those things, frustrations, embarrassment, and you study. And it's like, normally after that, it's like an uncooked vegetable. So you debate. And then after that, when you get it, then it's fully ripened. So when it's fully ripened, it's a fruit. So uncooked, unripened fruit become a delicious fruit.
So what it does is it creates a sort of, just the fact of debating, it allows you to lose those things that might hurt you.
Yeah, lose means might.
Or understand maturity, maybe.
Yeah, that's why, like, see, in debate, like for me, when you have the responsibility, especially when you debate in a regular class, it's okay. We can go through and whatever we study, we debate on that and squeeze every question answer. We understand more deeper, because in one class, we may cover like 5-6 pages in one class. And all we have to debate thoroughly, like almost roughly on that. We understand more by debating, because we are going word to word to understand about this meaning and overall meaning also. So after that, that's the saying that when you understand, it's like all the meaning is like in the palm of your hand. It's like you are like zooming through from aerial view, you see the whole text right in front of you. You know, almost 99% of your text is right in front of you. See when you, and then we have we had to appear in exam. Maybe at least over like 700 monks will debate on you within one whole day.
700 monks will debate on you.
Each one will debate 15 minutes each.
Wow.
Did you know that? I didn't know that.
So then that time you had to be ready because they will base on like huge texts. So text is roughly around like maybe the bigger, the thicker book.
The bottom one?
Bottom one.
Yeah.
So you have to study almost like everything. So they will ask from any corner of this word and try to debate on that. And you have to know which part, which page, which topic, which subject.
Wow.
And then, so you have to remember those things. So that's why you had to prepare that. That's the time we call that. That's the time that you're like squeezing and taking out the oil out of from you.
Did you say seed oil?
Yeah, seed oil. Squeezing the seeds and taking the oil out from you.
Yeah.
So that's how but it makes us feel amazing because like after debating like that, you got the answer. May not be 100%, but you get it from there. Like I could answer everything. And some people say, you did it. You did study it. They get a complimentary like that. So that's why that's how it helps us to study more. So yeah, that's how we do.
How did you both get connected?
Well, so I have a yoga studio.
Is it weird to hear your voice, or is it?
Yeah, it is a little bit. Right.
You're doing great.
And thank you. And
now you have Heart Space, right?
I have Heart Space Yoga.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know if you know this of me, but I also tiny bit study Buddhism in the Thich Nhat Hanh tradition in Plum Village. And so I've been to his monastery many times. And so I got to know other people that are like-minded. And one of those is Melissa. Yeah. And she had mentioned that they were coming to town, and she thought maybe I would be a good fit to host them, show them around. And then we ended up having the San Mandala at Heart Space Yoga. Originally, it didn't necessarily have to be there, but it ended up being there along with a lot of different places in Lackawanna and Luzerne County.
So are you guys like? What makes you go on tour? Like what is the impetus for that? Like, is it to spread?
See,
maybe tour is not the right word.
I would say it's a tour also because we live in South India, refugee camp. And then historically, this monastery is around, if you go back to Tibet, then it's about over 600 years old monastery.
Wow.
And then during the cultural revolutions, around 1959, along with over 600 monasteries and nunneries were completely destroyed. And one of our monastery in Tibet was completely destroyed. And there in Tibet, there used to be over like 3,300 monks in our monastery. And when few of them survived and then escaped in exile in India. So when the Indian government wanted to give a piece of land to rebuild this monastery in India, so whoever survived, they have to gather down there in South India. So there were 180 monks were there to register. Out of 3,300, only 180 monks survived. Rest disappeared. So that's why we have 180 acres of land in South India. So out of 180, so it was early like 60s. So they really worked hard because in Tibet is cold and coldest. South India is hot and hottest.
Yes. And
they really worked hard in the middle of the forest, cutting down the trees, and then never imagined that this monastery would grow that big. Right now, at present, in whole monasteries, there are over 5,500 monks.
Wow.
In our part, we have only 1,700 monks we have, because to cook food for so many monks is difficult. So it was divided into two administration. Actually, there are many, actually four administration. So our part has 1,700 monks. And right now we are touring on behalf of that. And the way, because we live in all the neighborings are Hindus and Muslims, so they don't provide any food. And then to grow anything in that dry land is very difficult. We try to grow dry rice. It's very difficult because we had to depend on the rainy season to get the water. So there's no irrigation, proper irrigation. So that's why we had to travel around the world. And by traveling around the world, we share our tradition, our humanity, I would say, loving kindness, and also ethical life. And whatever donation we receive, we try to save every penny so that we can bring it to this monastery, so that we can continue to preserve this precious tradition, also to help this young generation to grow up with so much ethical life, humanity, because right now our young generation need lots of support about the loving kindness and compassion or humanity. So that's why even though we have lots of younger monks coming from all over the world, mostly from northern Indian and Nepal and Bhutan and other countries. So whoever comes in, we take it. That's why the youngest monk is around 3 years old. The parents want them to go to the monastery. They can study the best education. So that's why one of the way that we, the organizer Mara is helping, Melissa helping, every organizer, they volunteer to help us. And then they sincerely support us to preserve this culture. So that's why we're here and touring around, and also bring awareness because being a monk, we can share these things, that how to be happy with yourself, even though you don't need so many things to be happy. So this is what we try to share in return, the best we can, as a Buddhist philosophy or way of life, how to live a life positively. In order to be a good person, you don't have to be spiritual. You don't have to be Buddhist or Hindu or Christian or Jewish. You don't have to be. But you had to have a good heart. Good heart. Because good heart is the universal language, or the religion also. If I show a smiling face, you'll be happy. If you show me, same. That's the universal religion. That's what we lack right now. We lack that value. And also, we also try to encourage we have to have some ethical life, the value of you call the humanity, because when we lose ethic in ourselves, then we are losing humanity. That means when we lose ethic means we don't respect anyone. We don't respect elders. We don't respect parents. We don't respect younger or older. And then Mother Nature, we don't respect. We take it for granted. Everything's poking each other's. So ethical life is very important to live the environment, communities, friends and families, to live in a very harmoniously. You need the proper ethic. Ethic means, in brief, is like a good way of thinking, good way of saying, and good way of behaving we call the body, speech, and mind. So the more you try to be humble down and live in a very positively, thinking positive, saying positive, and acting positively, then there will be a system then. It will be a beautiful system. Then they respect each other's. So sometime in a monastery, we call the ethical life has to be like a bird's feather. In a bird, like let's say about the pigeon or peacock, or this bird feather in one body, there are different sizes of feathers. Some are longer, some are shorter, some are tiny. But even though they're so fragile, but they're perfectly overlapping each other without messing their feather. That is called ethical life. That's why that they can fly also, they can keep warm. So this is what our ethical life has to be. Even there is a tiny, tiny feather also, even though so fragile, they don't mess up their feather. So that is called ethical life. But when we don't have this kind of ethical life, then it's like becoming like a porcupine. Porcupine, try to poke. Even the smallest needle is good enough to give you,
pain. Can I don't want to seem indelicate, but why is it when I grew up it was why does it seem like there's it seems like over there there's a fear of Buddhism from other people. Am I saying that right, or
what do you mean fear of Buddhism means?
Like there seems to be an oppression against Buddhist people, like what happened in Tibet and
See,
am I saying that incorrectly?
I don't know. I don't think it's a fear of Buddhism. I would say it's strange. It's an alien, it's an alien way of thinking.
But it seems like a beautiful way of thinking. Why would anybody be against that?
Yeah, because America is kind of new. They don't, even though Buddhists came to America, but mostly in the Zen and some other tradition like Hindus and other came. But the real Buddhists didn't came. And all this Buddhism which came to America is thanks to hippies.
Right.
The 1960s. The
1960s, yeah. Thanks to hippies. Yeah. Those are the one who bring all this Buddhist and Hindu. Yeah,
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Oh, yeah, they are the one who bring all this religion to America.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are some good reason also, some bad reason also, but I don't go through that.
It just seems to me like such a strange thing. It would be it's such at its core, it's in its teachings. It's about love.
Yeah.
Why would anybody be afraid of that?
I don't think it's afraid. It's naive. I would say it's not about. It's not afraid about. It's naive. I would say because don't know because Buddhists sometimes. Because Buddhist is not like whatever we're seeing is just a small, tiny surface of this Buddhist philosophy we are looking at.
Right.
And Buddhist philosophy can go way deeper because none of any spiritual believer or religion have so intense study. Buddhist is the only one that you study like whole life also not enough to complete your study.
Yeah, it seems like people will watch a 2-hour documentary and be like, oh, that makes sense as compared to somebody who's spent 30, 40, 50 years in the practice and think that that's equivalent.
Yeah, that's why people
to understand it.
Yeah, that's why people here after 1 hour of teaching then talk about when I'm going to get enlightened.
Next one. Yeah. So that's a good segue. So like what is this whole
See, I would say Buddhism is about, it helps you to understand more about the life. Till now, like when we are trying to be a spiritual person or like something, we have faith and belief. And when we have faith and belief means we haven't seen the reality. We're trusting blindly because somebody said so.
Right.
You're not using your own intelligence to prove deep down.
Right.
Maybe we're not, we call the enthusiasm. We only want to, somebody with the stick can do this one. And then with fear or because somebody says so, that's why I follow. Only with the faith means we don't know. It doesn't base on we call the science. So Buddhism is all about fact. It's all about that's why Buddha is never a god. Buddha is a teacher. And then study is all about the reality, about Buddhism will only teach you about the impermanence of the life. And then life, that whatever, as long as we have this body, this is called the contaminated body.
The contaminated body.
Yeah, that means you will never experience the ultimate happiness. It will change into suffering because we have this body. So that means even you believe that if I have the most delicious food, I'll be happy. But the same delicious food will turn into food poison if you eat too much.
Right.
The same medicines are supposed to heal me from sickness, that will cause you to death.
Yes.
So that's why because of this contaminated body, anything around also contaminated. That means it will change into suffering. So that's why like Buddhist is trying to teach about those things. Don't pretend yourself that I'm going to live forever, I'm going to be strong forever. Because you have this contaminated body, there's no way you can be like that. Reality will strike right after that. It's like an old car going one after another, there will be a problem. They'll break down slowly.
Yes.
But still pretending that I can fix it and then stay forever, it's not going to happen. So that's why it's talk about the law of cause and effect. Law of cause and effect, karma we call karma, right? Karma is not based on belief. Karma is based on the fact. It's maths. It's a pure mathematic things. If you kill somebody means your consequences will be killing. If you lie somebody, consequences will be lying. That's why for us as our blind faith is, we want to do all kind of things and still expecting good thing to happen. It's not going to happen because we have never done something good thing. If you don't plant the seeds in this ground, and then planting just seed also not enough. You have to have a fertilizers and conditions, right? Without condition, it won't grow. So even you have things, you need to have these conditions. Condition, you have a good heart, but good heart has to be to German, we call the sprout with condition. If you have physical, you have to talk positively. If you have good heart, how can I know you have good heart? It has to respond through your proper speech or proper actions. I don't know how good you have. You may say, I have a good heart, but you're verbally saying all the nasty word, physical doing all the nasty action, then how can I say that?
You can't.
Can, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you have a good heart means prove it by saying positive, acting positive. That's what the Buddhist is trying to, understand about those things. Try to show that if we want to have a good heart, you have to respond with these. Then, yes, you have these qualities. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense then. You have a good heart, but doing all kind of negative thing, doing all the negative actions, then that means it's a big question mark.
You're living in a fantasy.
Yes. Now you.
Yes.
I love this. Can I come visit you? Do you
Well,
guys, I'm gonna try to wrap this up so you guys can go to the store and everything. And I
think they left already.
I think they're back. Yeah. So can you tell me about this event, Mara?
Sure. So they are in town from July 9th through the 23rd. And we're going to have the Sand Mandala that's going to be created at Heartspace, which is they just set up the table this afternoon, a beautiful table setting up, and you could describe more what the Sand Mandala is. And on Sunday is the dissolution ceremony where they wipe the sand away, and people could be a part of that and take some sand home with them. But all through Lackawanna County, the Facebook page, NEPA Tibetan Arts Tour, you could find more information. But they'll be at Near Me Yoga on July 11th. And Heartspace, there'll be the Sand Mandala all week.
You need to push Heartspace. Just if you're going to be here, you should really push your thing.
Yeah, Heartspace Yoga. It's to the left of CVS in Southside. It's beautiful.
Of Music Street, right?
Yeah, Music Street. Yep, just a small space behind Counseling Wellness Center Scranton. So we started Heartspace as an adjunct to the counseling center just because of the body, mind, and spirit. We wanted to work with meditations. Let me see. They're also going to be at Soul Works and Everything Natural and Soul Shine and Madam Matters Cafe. So yeah, check out the Facebook page, NEPA Tibetan Tour 2025.
Are you excited? I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're very excited and happy to be doing this. I know a couple of these places. I think they'll be wonderful for you. I think it's beautiful that. Go say.
I wanted to check in one more thing. Can you talk about the private healings that you're doing at these places?
Oh, I'm interested in that.
Right.
Yeah.
The private healing is all about because see, we have lots of mental issues and physical issues, those things. And this private healing that we do is normally started by Buddha himself in 2,600 years ago. And then whoever has any kind of like mental pollution, sometimes we call mental pollution, means your mind is too much polluted and cannot think beyond. Sometimes negative, sometimes delusion, sometimes sickness. So this is to clear this mental pollution. And the physical pollution, to clear the physical pollution means mostly if you have any kind of risky about heart attack or strokes or blockage of chakras and channels, this is to open up those chakras in your body. And then verbal pollution means, of course, you want to say something, your speech is never pure enough, you're strong enough. So that's why this is to help you to cleanse those speech also. And also there's many other benefits. And it's very powerful healing. I have lots of stories about those, that how it impact people. People sometimes like they cannot walk, so they have to carry on their back. And after receiving healings, they walk normally, like because they open up all the system in their body. It's a very powerful thing. And I would say that while we're creating the mandala, I would encourage everyone, like they have any questions about practice or meditations or questions, ask, even though we may not be able to answer, but at least we will know how can we respond about that. Especially about the spiritual part, yes, we can help, but not politics.
Why not?
Well, because the spiritual part fixes the politics. Once you get good with the spirituality, then there is no
need.
I think it's to help us to stay in the balance. Sometimes, see, when we have those kind of spiritual insight, deep inside, it always helps us to stay in balance in between.
Absolutely. So when is these healing things? Because I might.
So all during the Mandala, I could give you my number here.
I wouldn't give out your phone number on
this.
No.
Well, that's how they schedule the healings. Or you just stop by Heart Space Yoga.
Well, after this, I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
9 to 5 daily at Heart Space Yoga, 4 Meadow Avenue in Southside. We have a schedule of healings that people can put down. And also healings are happening at these other spots as well.
I'm going to try to get this episode out tomorrow so that we can get people to show up and sign up.
Thank you.
My goodness, what an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having us here.
And the universe works in weird ways because
it does. Yeah,
it absolutely does. Well, did you guys have a good time?
Awesome time. Yes.
Thank
you.
Easier than I thought.
All right. Make sure you check out Heart Space Yoga and the Tibetan monks of the historic Gaden Shartse Monastery. All right. Thank you guys so much.